Imagine your dog got lost, not in the yard, not in the next neighborhood, on the other side of the country, 3,000 miles from home. How would you feel? Probably like you would never see her again. But here is a question that will change the way you look at your pet right now. What would she feel? Because that is exactly what happened in 1923 to one American family. And what followed is officially documented, confirmed by dozens of witnesses, and still unexplained by science. This is not a legend. This actually happened. And by the time you hear this story to the end, you will look at your dog differently the next time she meets you at the door. Summer of 1923. The Brazier family from Silverton, Oregon, set out on a road trip. With them was Bobbie, a Scottish collie, 2.5 years old, calm, devoted, the children's favorite. In the small town of Wolcott, Indiana, Bobbie jumped out of the car and ran into 3 stray dogs. A fight broke out. He bolted. The family searched for several days. Nothing. Home was 3,000 miles away, nearly 5,000 kilometers. They left without him. Now, stop for a second and think about your own dog. When you leave the house, even for an hour, what does she do? Whimper? Sit by the door? Wait? Research shows that the moment an owner leaves, a dog's stress hormones spike sharply. Heart rate rises. The body shifts into a state of anxious anticipation. Your scent, literally your scent, activates the pleasure center in her brain, the same one that responds to food, to play, to everything that matters most. Bobbie had lost his family, and that meant one thing. His brain could not settle because the anchor of his safety was gone. But what he did next cannot be explained by biology alone. Bobbie went home. People he met along the way later told investigators, yes, they had seen a dog like that, exhausted, alone. It would accept food and then move on. It never stayed long. 6 months. In February of 1924, the Brazier's daughter opened the front door. On the porch lay a dog, barely moving, terribly thin, coat matted, paws worn nearly down to the bone. It was Bobbie. The doctor said a few more days and his heart would have simply stopped. He did not stop 1 day from the finish. Not 2. He made it to the end. The story swept across America. Newspapers ran it on the front page. President Hoover expressed his admiration. The Oregon Humane Society launched an official investigation and interviewed dozens of witnesses along the entire route. Their conclusion was unambiguous. The facts are confirmed. And then everyone asked the same question: how? And that is where science tried to answer several times, and every time it hit a wall. Theory 1, smell. Dogs can detect scents 10,000 times better than humans. In theory, Bobbie could have been sniffing his way toward home. One problem: that works over a range of a few dozen kilometers, not 5,000. Oregon does not smell from Indiana. While scientists were looking for answers in his nose, Bobbie was somewhere in Colorado crossing a mountain pass in a snowstorm. Theory 2. Magnetic navigation. Research has shown that dogs have crystals of magnetite in their nasal cavities, the same substance that helps birds navigate by Earth's magnetic field during migration. This explains how Bobbie may have been moving in the right direction, but it does not explain how he found a specific house on a specific street in a specific town among thousands of others. A compass gets you to a country, not to a room. Theory 3. Cognitive map. Neurobiologists speak of an internal spatial representation, a map the animal's brain builds from lived experience. Dogs have a well-developed spatial memory center, but Bobbie had never traveled this route. He had nothing to compare it against, and yet he kept going. Theory 4, the boldest one. Quantum navigation. The same hypothesis used to explain certain migratory birds, that the animal literally sees the magnetic field as an overlay on its visual image through quantum processes in the proteins of the retina. It has been documented in robins. In dogs, it remains unproven. And here is what the Oregon Humane Society wrote in its official report after the investigation. Literally, we confirm the fact, we cannot explain the mechanism. This is a rare moment in science. The event is confirmed. The explanation is absent.
If you just thought about your own dog and whether she could do this, hit like. These stories are made for you. But here is what we do know for certain. In 2015, a study published in the journal Science made headlines around the world. Scientists discovered that when a dog and its owner simply gaze into each other's eyes, both experience a sharp rise in oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same one that surges in a mother the moment she sees her newborn child. Your dog looks at you, and her brain responds the same way a human brain responds when looking at the most important person in their life. Now think about Bobbie, 6 months, 5,000 kilometers, the Rocky Mountains in October, frozen rivers, one source of food, strangers by the side of the road.
And all of that was working in Bobbie. That is part of the answer. But no hormone explains how he found that house. Here is the question I want to leave with you. If a human being had walked 5,000 kilometers in winter, through mountains, nearly dying, toward the one person they trusted most, we would not go looking for a scientific explanation. We would call it love. Bobbie died in 1927. He was buried with honors in Silverton, Oregon. The headstone reads simply, Bobbie, a wonder dog. Maybe a miracle is exactly what happens when science ends and something else continues. What do you think? Was it instinct or something more? Write in the comments. I genuinely want to hear your story. And if you want to hear the next one, about a dog abandoned alone in the forest and what happened to her after, subscribe. That story is coming soon, and it will be even more gripping.